sustainability is a really key factor for a lot of businesses these days. And there's a buzzword, ESG, environment, social and governance. Can you tell me how Smallnet help clients in that area specifically?
Yes, so I think ESG. I think is again is an area in which we're starting to work in actually in supporting that, and I think that ESG has has a good place actually, and it can be a good kind of starting point for businesses to actually look to actually again get value out of that. So there's a number of reasons why people kind of are getting involved in ESG. It's obviously become, again, for some people it's become a bit of a buzzword, and for a lot of companies they may be doing it for, to be kind of to a certain extent virtue signaling, and I think it's great for reputational needs to do that, and also because now, depending on your business, and this is growing, there might actually be regulatory reasons why they now have to kind of report on their use of things like CO2 and all those kind of things. So there's a growing kind of need in out there to do that, and there are tools growing to do that as well. So for example, IBM's got a great tool in Vizi for doing that's been around for 15 years. That has been doing that enables companies to to be able to report accurately on their on their kind of carbon usage and things like that, but also be able to do their submissions and all these disclosures and all these other things that can be time consuming. But the thing that kind of underpins all that is the same thing, and one of the biggest kind of challenges really of doing the ESG reporting is actually getting all the information in together, which goes back to the same problems we were fixing 20 years ago.
Yeah, and I guess the benefit overall is the fact that energy costs are going up, aren't they? So businesses really need to focus on that sort of thing to save money. Yeah,
exactly, and that's it. So one of the things we're trying to do with our customers that are kind of interested in this space and the other new prospects we're finding around that is kind of not so much turning on its head, but sort of saying, well, look, if all you do is put out this report each year that says your CO2 usage is X, Y, or Z, or you're doing just to kind of meet the need of a regulator, then you're missing a huge opportunity, because all the information you're collecting to generate that, you can be mining and analysing to actually bring you genuine business benefit. To take your point that that the best thing to do is to reduce your carbon footprint, right? And there's good commercial reasons why you want to do that, irrespective of whether that's good for the planet or whatever. Carbon's expensive, and if you reduce your carbon intake or your usage around the organisation, then you're going to save money. Okay, and so greenwashing, as it's called, where you kind of can offset your carbon, to me is just kind of it's just kind of compounding the issue, right? We're getting raised energy bills, etc., and things like that are coming out, and they're only, what we can see now is they're only ever going to go up, right? They're only ever going to get more expensive, and they're going to be more taxation on those sort of things. So just kind of trying to maintain that whilst then paying extra on top to offset that for some virtuous reason is crazy. The answer is really is to use the information that you're using to do your returns to actually analyse, do some analytics on it and work out how you can actually reduce it. What you can do to save 20%, and then also use the information you've got to then project forwards. Say, well, if we do this, if say I'm a retailer, if I can work out a way in which I can reduce my electricity bill on a store by store basis by say 20%, what's that going to look like in terms of money over the next 5 years? And then that pays for the time and investment they've had to put into developing their ESG reports. Because if they don't do that, then it just becomes a cost, and they've just got a lost opportunity. And that's why also one of the other things about ESG companies, which is quite interesting, is that it's now being used by investors. And if you look at the investment market now, one of the things they look for in companies now are good kind of ESG type scores, and that's because genuinely, for a company to be sustainable going forwards, if you're not looking at how to reduce, if you're a high carbon user, if you're not looking at how to reduce that, then you're going to struggle over the next 5 to 10 years because you're just your costs are just going to go through the roof.
Yeah, and I've read that students and young people tend to look at environmental factors when they're looking for employment, in the same way that people would look at tobacco companies in the past. So with necessarily a sort of fairly negative view if there's not a environmental strategy underpinning the business. So it's all very important, obviously. So you're right, it is, and it's about you're right. So it's about reputational, the reputational benefit of that as well. So there's a lot of good reasons why why kind of
I think there are probably sections of the society that are maybe a bit cynical about this sort of thing, and maybe in some ways that's right. But the thing to remember is this is here to stay, and this is something that we whether you agree with it or not, you're going to have to deal with it. It was all kicked off when the Paris 2015 agreement was signed to try and keep global warming down by to 1.5% by 2030. That was the firing pistol, if you like,
Indeed,
that settled this off. Because when the government signed up to that, the thing that wasn't probably people didn't realise was it wasn't the government that was really going to sort that out. It was them getting us to sort it out, and all the companies to say, right, we're going to use taxation and other levers to make people kind of reduce the carbon, and we might also invest as well to give the opportunity to provide other cleaner forms of energy, but ultimately it's going to be businesses adapting.
Yeah. Oh, all very interesting. What you do, obviously, you make a subject which some people would describe as fairly mundane, data. You make it sound very fascinating and interesting. So yeah, I mean, if you were to summarise in terms of how your business can help end users and businesses, what would you say?
Well, I think going back to what we're saying, data underpins this all, and what we're great at doing is getting that data together, okay, and being able to store it in a way in which you can use it. We've got experience not only of getting the data, cleaning it, and bringing it together, but also in terms of structuring it so that your tools going forwards can make great use of it. So whether that's a more traditional tool like Cognos, say for example, or whether it's it's R or some other kind of sort of more modelling based technology, more modern one, or whether it's kind of to feed into AI, it's the same thing, and we have the experience to do that, and we've got and we've been doing it for some time, and we've got customers that are happy that we've done it for. So we've also got lots of customers that can say, yeah, look, this is what they've done for us, and this is how we've benefited from it.
Great. Well, Simon, thank you very much for your time. It's been absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for your time, too.